All right, so we are going to talk about Zotero tonight. Let's go ahead and get started. Actually, right before we get started, I have a little bit of a treat for you all. We have a contest, and so for this contest, for entry into a drawing, make sure that your screen name for this meeting is your first and last name. If you have trouble with that, just let me know. I believe all you have to do is hover over your name in the participants list and click on it, and I believe you can change it that way. And of course, you're going to change it to participants, your name. Oh yeah, well there it is right there. Participants, your name, more, and rename. And so it's just a contest entry right here. There's some stuff to read about it right there. So to be eligible for an entry, attendees must be present in this session for a minimum of 15 minutes for a session scheduled for 30 minutes, a minimum of 30 minutes for a session scheduled for 60 minutes. Attendance is based on meeting records downloaded from the meeting software, which logs screen name and time in the session. Attendees with unidentifiable screen names will not be entered. Each time you attend an iLearn session through March 31st, 2022, you will earn one entry into a drawing to win one of six $50 gift cards. And the drawing will be held in early April, and winners will be contacted. So yeah, definitely make sure that your names are correct. You'll be entered into a drawing for a $50 gift card. That's always awesome. So next. All right, so our agenda, we'll talk a little bit about the setup of using Zotero. I'll show you how to add items to your library, and then just some of the basic operations, and then I can answer any questions that you have about the program after that. One thing I'm not going to focus on in this session is I'm not really going to go through the whole process of downloading the application to your computer, just because that will vary from uh, uh, for each person. So if you have any questions about that portion of it, let's just wait until the end of the session, and then we can talk about that. But generally speaking, it's a pretty simple tool to add to your computer. So I'll kind of touch on that. But as far as like going through the actual operations, we're gonna skip that in this session. It's just sort of like a demonstration of how to use the application. So let's talk a little bit about Zotero. Zotero is a free citation management software tool that allows you to collect and organize references, easily create a standard format citations reference lists. It integrates with your web browser so that you can easily download citation information from the web, and it automatically generates things like in-text citations and reference lists within Microsoft Word. Zotero is really great because it's super web friendly. It's you can easily store web pages, audio, video files. You can move existing PDFs that are on your computer um, into your library, images as well. Yeah, it's a very simple install, and it comes with a browser extension for Chrome and Firefox, and also for Edge. So first, we're going to head over in just a second to Zotero.org. That's how you get the tool. And then it just sort of breaks it down by downloading options. There's a Windows version, there's a Mac version. Also, when we go to the downloading page there will also be your free browser extension, which is really crucial. That's actually that's one of the benefits of the tool, really, is that the browser extension makes it a lot easier to add citations to your library. So I'm going to head over to Zotero.org really quick, just to show you where that's at. I'll put it in the chat just in case, real quick. Zotero.org. And we're going to head over there right now. I'm going to share my screen again. And voila, we have Zotero.org. So right here is where you will come to get Zotero. So it's pretty simple. Basically, it's just hit the download button right here. Once you go to the download button, it will give you a couple of different options. If you have a Windows computer, that option will appear here. If you're Mac, you can click on that option if you choose. And then also, once you've completed the download process, this is important, is to install your Zotero connector. And there are options for a lot of the different major browsers, I suppose. Firefox connector, there's a Safari one, and there's also one for Edge. Um, Zotero actually recognizes that I am using Chrome now, so it automatically, telling me that I should probably use this Chrome version. But once you've downloaded the machine, uh, the um, the um, the application, then you'll come over and do the install Chrome connector. Once you've downloaded it, downloaded the application, it'll be mostly on your desktop usually. And what you'll see when you open it for the first time, minus these folders that are right here on the left side, this is pretty much what it's going to look like. The only difference is that we'll have a a quick start menu. Will usually populate this area. This is your library panel that's right here in the center. And so that's usually what you'll see. And then with your web browser, once you've installed the connector will appear usually right in this area if you're using Chrome. It's usually, it will appear up next to the address bar, and it's usually right there on the right side. You'll know that the that the browser connector is functioning is when you are um, on a regular Google page and you see this Z icon. This essentially means that it's ready to go and it's ready for you to add items to your library. So okay, so once we've got that already situated, we've downloaded the application, we have the browser connector. Before I move on to start adding items to our library, I do want to put in the chat the installation guide for one, which you can get through Zotero and documentation, just in case anybody has any questions about it. The installation guide is here in the chat. There's the first one. The next one I'll put in is, just because it doesn't appear here on mine, but it normally does, the quick start guide. I think that is really helpful to getting started with Zotero. Zotero in general, what's really great about it is that it is a citation manager that as soon as you download as soon as you download the application, it's pretty much like eh, it's pretty much ready to go right after that. So we'll go ahead. Well, actually, before I forget, right before we start adding items to our library, I will tell you that it is helpful to create a online account, which is free, and you can do that by just going over here to log in and creating your account. The benefits of having the online account is that, well, is that it's not crucial, but it is helpful, particularly um, um, if you do not always have access to your desktop. Uh, and that's kind of one of the benefits uh, of having the online account. And the online account also allows you to back up your files. So I would suggest to create one of the online accounts. It just takes a minute to do that. Click login, um, register for a free account, and then it'll pretty much walk you through that entire process. I'll go ahead and log on to mine just in case, just to come back to and kind of show you what it looks like. Normally, this is kind of what the online account appears. It's all like the desktop account there. But yeah, I would say the biggest benefit is that it's a good way to um, back up your articles. Let's go to Search USA. I'll do a quick, uh, let's see, what shall we look up? We can look up, let's do something with knee osteoarthritis. Do a quick. And so one thing you will notice when you're using Zotero, especially the browser extension, is that the extension, which like I said, appears usually over here if you're in Google Chrome, and actually most of the browsers, it kind of appears in the same area. The icon, especially in Chrome, varies from source to source to source. And what I mean by that is that when you're on a regular web page, it will be like this icon will go from looking like a Z or a gray document. If you're on a web page, it will look blue, kind of the way it does now. Now on a results page, it's going to look like a folder. And this is just to indicate that if we wanted to, we could click on the folder icon and we could add the first page of this search, which we could potentially add the first 50 citations to our library if we wanted to, just by selecting all, or you could just select a few here and there. So that's one option. I wouldn't suggest doing that unless you're doing kind of like a systematic review to search for duplicates. That's always that's a good practice, but that's neither here nor there right now. But let's just talk about adding regular items to your library. So if you didn't want to move an entire search over, let's click this article right here as an example. Effectiveness of ultrasound guided canal abductor blockade for chronic pain and functioning in knee osteoarthritis. So this is the article that we're choosing. As you can see, the icon up in the top corner of the screen there is now this sort of white piece of paper, which is supposed to indicate that it's a journal article. So let's say I really like this article and I'd like to add it to my library. And there's a couple of different ways that you can add items to your library, but with the browser extension, this is the way you would do it. So watch closely. I go over to the icon right there, the Zotero icon where it says save to Zotero EBSCOhost. Click that icon, and then, oops, I got to switch my library really quick. And then once I've done that, it's added the citation right there. And it's added, if it's available, it'll add the full text document. So let's go to the library really quick and see if it's there, and it is. So that's how easy it is to add citations to your library. Now, a lot of citation managers, they have browser extension tools and things like that, but I actually think that that Zotero's works the best. So yeah, so that's how you would add an article from Search USA to your library. Now, let's say we want to use another tool or one of our other resources. We'll use Pubmed, and we'll kind of do our same search for Pubmed here. And so, okay, so we have a new article that we can use right here. Let's click on this one. As you can see, everywhere we go, this little icon up in the corner, the browser connector will change. It identifies this source as a journal article, which it is. And so what it does is that we click on the icon, and if the full text is available, which I believe it is because it is an open access document, and I know that because it's from the PMC uh, database, which is an open access database. When I clicked it, it's now in my library right there, along with the PDF icon. So there's that, which is, and see how easy it is. It's a very easy resource to use. There was a time when it used to be difficult to add items from ProQuest to Zotero, but the last look, when I was looking the other day, it looks like they've fixed the bug. The bug used to be that the icon recognized ProQuest as a website instead of a periodical database, which which is lucky for us now, that is not the case. It actually recognizes it as a um, 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 as a database. So of course we have the option if we wanted to click on the folder option and collect all the search if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to click on one of these options here. And oh, look, so this is from a news weekly, and you see that the icon, instead of being an academic journal, is now showing us kind of like a newspaper icon, which is to indicate that it's a news item, which it will then add it to our library as such. If for some reason, which I don't think this one did, if for some reason it didn't pull the PDF, or actually I don't even know if a PDF is even an option here. It doesn't look like it is, but there is a way to add the the full text if it doesn't exactly automatically populate in your library. Let me see if I can find an example. Maybe this one. Okay, so this is an academic journal article. So we have the white piece of paper up there in the corner. We'll click on that and let's see. It probably will only give us. I believe this one was full text. I thought it was. Well, it is not full text. Let me go get a full text one and see. Um, let's do scholarly journals. We'll filter by that. All right, so let's try this one. Let's see what it does with this one. So once again, we're going to go to the corner, and oh, this one does give us the full text automatically. I was trying to find one to where we had to manually attach it, which is something to know for sure. If for some reason the full text is not pulling, if it's not pulling all the way over, let's see if we have a place where I can give you an example. Let's try this one in Search USA. And okay, so this one doesn't look like it's going to give us the full text. There's a couple of things that we could have done in order to get the full text. One of them is that we could have added the article once we got to the publisher's website. I think that would have been an option. However, yeah, I think that would have been an option that we could have done. But if we didn't want to go that far, but we just wanted to attach the PDF, we could click on PDF on this page, give us the option to download it, which we'll do that next. And excuse me. Well, while we wait for that to, oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So let's download the article if we can. Oh, there it is right there. So I'm just gonna download this one, and it's called Osteoarthritis Care, Risk of Total Knee. Let's go back to our Zotero library. That's the article right there. That's the citation. And you'll notice that when you bring it over into Zotero, it not only provides you with the title and some of the pertinent information for say a citation or whatnot, but it also will a lot of the times pull over the abstract of the article, of course, publication, volume, issue, page numbers, and things like that. But then it also gives you different tags, and it gives you the journal abbreviation, and it also provides you with a permalink back to that article. So, like I said, the full text isn't attached to this one, so we may have to manually add it, which is no worries, because all we have to do is select, go to the paperclip icon up there. It's a lot like attaching a document to an email, really. You'll go to attach, oops, let me do that slowly. You'll go to the paperclip document or paperclip icon, attach stored copy of file, which is I've saved it to my computer. So I go to my downloads folder, click on that, and click OK. And now there it is. It's attached. And if we want to access it, we can. Let me bring it over into my screen. So this is how it would look. Now, one of the limitations with the document, as far as like because some of the citation managers, they allow you to annotate through, if you're reading a document inside your library, your Zotero library, you can annotate the article, um, make notes or highlights. Well, that's one of the major limitations, is that if you want to do that, that's not done easily. But everything else is. If you wanted to make notes and things like that, you could select the document, and as you can see over here, there's a little area to make notes. But if you wanted to make notes on the PDF itself, you would have to make the notes, then save the PDF, and then upload it again. But that's like a whole other day. But I'm just thinking of questions that people often ask me about using Zotero, and that is one of the limitations. I don't know if it's a deal breaker though. A couple other things you can do with Zotero when you're in your library, which this is what this is, like where all your citations are collected. It's called your library. You have the option to create folders. I've created a couple of folders here as examples from different databases. So there's like CINAHL Complete, there's a ProQuest one and a Pubmed one. But know that even if you're adding items to those folders separately, that it's still going to appear in my library, which is just basically your entire library. So let's say I wanted to move this article, the osteoarthritis care, into CINAHL. I can by just selecting it and dragging and dropping it into that folder, which you'll see right there. But as you will also notice, it is still um, um, in your library. But again, you have the option to create different folders by clicking on the folder icon for new collection, and then that allows you to label them after a topic that you're working on, or a course that you've had to grab a lot of literature for. So yeah, there's lots of different options. So we've added items from Search USA. We've added items from Pubmed. We've also added items from ProQuest. So really the last thing that I wanted to show you all tonight is how to use the citation generator. People always ask me all the time, the benefit of having a citation manager is blank. And my first answer is always, well, it helps you manage your citations. It helps you keep all of the information that you're gathering from your research through electronic databases or through websites, etc. Allows you to keep all of that stuff parked in one area. It's all in order. Um, if you want to, you can uh, organize it however you feel. So that's one of the benefits, definitely, of having a citation manager. And really, the main benefit is being able to retrieve it and have it there whenever you need it. Another benefit is that it does have a citation generator component. Now, I will stress, citation generators are not the best product, because in the end, it's still AI. And basically, like most citation generators, it's going to generate a citation of the information that it's collected. If the information is not correct, or if the information is not formatted in a correct way, that will mess up your citation. So people say, oh, of the citation managers, which one's the best for generating citations? They're pretty much all exactly the same. They're almost all the same. It depends on the information that you're plugging, that Zotero is using to create the citation. The best citation generator, and you have me here on record saying this, of all citation generators, whatever tool you use, is your APA manual, your style manual for APA or for AMA. Those are always your best resources for generating citations. I'd say second to that would be the resources that are collected in the Writing Center. Those are also extremely helpful as well. So on the level, it'd first be manual, Writing Center, and then Citation Generator. So 1, 2, 3. But It is a really, really great way to save time, especially when you're working on your capstone project or dissertation or a large scale research project. You know, not only is Zotero great for being able to keep all that information together and organized, but when you do have to generate a reference page or bibliography, it can help you out immensely from instead of having to go, you know, from citation to citation, it will produce this um, uh, um, um, this for you after you have completed your document. And so let me kind of show you how it works. Now, when you download Zotero's desktop application, it will automatically, most of the time, automatically add a add-on to your Microsoft Word document. I think Zotero also works well with Google Docs if you use that actually, but I think a lot of us probably use Microsoft Office. But when you download Zotero, it should automatically add this add-on, which will usually appear up in your toolbar. I'm kind of hovering over it right now in Word. Somebody have a question or turn the mic on by accident? All right. So yeah. So once the best way to find out whether or not that the add-on exists is that you will need to open up Microsoft Word. And if it exists there, you can click on it and it has its own little place. But if for some reason it does not add add Zotero um, to your Microsoft Office Word document, you can do it manually. And one way to do it is to go to Tools and go to Add-ons, and then, or excuse me, Tools, and oh, I'm sorry, it's not even, I always go to tools, I'm sorry. It's actually edit preferences. And when you hit preferences, this will come up, this like this work panel. And to make sure that you get the Microsoft add-on, you know, if it doesn't appear immediately, is go to Cite right here. And then I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's the different styles that are supported by Zotero, and there's lots of them. But the one you'll want to click on is word processors, and then you can install the Microsoft Word add-in that way. So, but that's if it doesn't appear. It will most likely appear, but if it doesn't, then go back to your Zotero application, edit preferences, Cite, and then go to word processors, and then you'll hit install. So let's go ahead and add citation real quick. So if I'm typing along, excuse my eloquent sentence structure right here. If I'm typing along and I'm getting to a place where I'd like to add a particular citation, I'm going to go to Zotero. I'm going to click on the tab up there at the top, and then I'm going to go to Add Edit Citation. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to confirm the style. So for this one, I'm going to use APA 7th edition. I make sure that's selected and click OK. Then this red bar will pop up. Now, if you know who you're citing off the top of your head, you can begin to type in the first couple letters of the title or of the author, and then that information will come up. If you're unsure for whatever reason, you can also go to the Z. There's a little tiny arrow for a drop-down menu. You can go to Classic View. I like this view pretty much the best because if I'm, you know, kind of going along and I can't, maybe it's a new reference or an older reference that I haven't used in a long time, and I can't remember the exact title of it or the author of it, this is how you can find it. So I'm going to use this effectiveness of ultrasound guided canal abductor blockade article for an in-text citation. So all I'm going to do is select it and click OK. and then it creates the parenthetical citation. And let's say I'm still writing and still going. I'll come to another place where I want to add another reference. I can do that. Of course, if I don't remember which one it is, I can go to that drop down arrow, classic, click on it, click on this. And I'm going to keep doing a few of these to kind of show you what I'm talking about. And okay, so there we go. So we have these three separate references, and let's just pretend that what I'm working on here is a paragraph in a paper. Well, at the end, after I finished writing and I've done a lot of my parenthetical citations, what's left for me to do is to create my reference page. So all you have to do once you've completed typing your work is you'll go to Add Edit Bibliography. Right there, it's right next to Add Edit Citations, and click on Add Edit Bibliography, and it will generate the citations for you, just like that. And it doesn't matter if you notice these were out of order, you know, that how they appear in your paper, but on the reference page, the sample reference page that I made here, they are in alphabetical order. Now, can anybody, this is a question for those that are listening and paying attention and who know a little bit about APA 7th style, what's wrong with one of these citations? There's one of these citations that is technically wrong. Which one is it? You can put the last name of the author or part of the title if you want. Can anybody guess it? Just from your basic knowledge of APA. Well, see, the chat's pretty quiet. Let me go ahead and point it out to you. Yes, exactly. That is exactly right. And why is it wrong, Carolyn? You can put it in the chat or you can tell us.
The capitalization of the article.
Correct. So that's one of the things that you have to look for when you're using any, really, I would say any citation manager, especially when it comes to sentence case with a citation. Why is it this way? Because the ones above it and the ones below it don't seem to have that problem. Well, it's how the information was indexed uh, in the database. So sometimes it is, you know, indexed correctly by the National Library of Medicine sort of standard. Sometimes it's just entered as a regular title. So this is kind of some of the things you always have to look for when you're using this, because it does a great job. It did a lot of the work for us that we might spend time scrolling through our manual trying to figure out, as far as like doing the basics, doing an article, doing a book, doing you know, doing things like that. It does a really good job, but it makes a citation out of the information that you give it. So how do we fix this if this is the case? Well, you can fix it manually by going to the entry. If you click on it, it'll allow you to switch it just like that, right? So you'll just go through and backspace and then put the right letter in. Or we can do this again. Or the other way to do it, let me get rid of this real fast. Other way to do it is to go to your Zotero library, and it was the effectiveness of ultrasound guided. So a way to fix this is in your library actually, and it's super easy. So there are two options, of course, which you can do it manually, but if you right click on the title with your cursor, it gives you the option for title case or sentence case. And if you're mostly going to be working with APA 7th, it's going to be sentence case. So if you select sentence case, now it looks right. And it should carry over to your document. I believe it does. Let's hit Add Edit Bibliography again. And nope, see, it didn't do it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but other times you'll just have to do it manually, and it really doesn't take that much time to do it. So that is kind of a, I guess it might be something that might be a deal breaker for some, but I would say just having to change the case of a couple of the letters in the sentence is far better than trying to figure out the entire reference alone. But yeah, so yeah, that's just some of the perks of it. Things that you can do using Zotero. So yeah, that's pretty much it with using Zotero. And I think that if it's a tool that you're interested in using, I would download it and kind of play around with it a little bit. Of course, if you have any questions of using Zotero, you can always reach out to us in the library. I have been asked, and I'm sure that there is someone here that wants to ask me this, and I'll just go ahead and ask myself the question and then answer it, which is the best citation manager? Should I use Mendeley or Zotero, or should I use EndNote Web? My quick answer is whatever you like is pretty much the best answer. But I will tell you, a lot of us here in the library, and a lot of librarians and library people in general, Zotero is kind of the best one. I like Zotero because it's a pure citation manager. That's really all it's for. Is you're adding information. There's no, not a lot of bells and whistles to it. It's just, adding the information to your library and keeping it organized. And if you want to, when you're using that citation generator um, portion of it, it does a pretty decent job at that too. So that's my opinion. If you were to ask me which one do I like, it's Zotero. That's the one I use the most, but all of them have their perks. Now, if you come back throughout the month, I am going to be going over some of the different citation managers. So if you want to join, I would definitely check out the library's um, upcoming events calendar. I think the next one I have is Mendeley. I think. Call me a liar on that one. I have to look at the website to make sure. Of course, you can go to those events by going to the homepage, and then right below where it says upcoming events, you'll see the events that are upcoming or are currently happening. And I believe if you go to the event calendar, the next one, oh no, excuse me, I was wrong. The next one is citation managers using EndNote Web. That's the next one that we're doing. And then after that, the one for Mendeley is the following week. So if you're interested in learning more about these products and which one best fit you, come join me. Another way to figure that out is by going to the Scholarly Skills community. In the Scholarly Skills community, if you connect to it from the library's homepage, there is a learning module actually that we created that kind of covers a lot of the stuff I've talked about tonight. Um, and but it sort of supplements it more with videos and things like that, and some practice assignments. So if you're interested in kind of giving these a try, go to the Scholarly Skills community, go to formatting and referencing, and you'll see the citations module right there. And it pretty much, it's got its learning objectives. It's got a comparison table if you're interested in the different ones and what they can do for you. So of course, we have the one here for Zotero. It sort of breaks down its strengths and weaknesses. Same thing with Mendeley and Web. There's also a presentation in there that's kind of like an interactive presentation. There's a Zotero Mendeley, the kind of a redo of that table that you saw. Then here is, if you're interested in learning or seeing maybe some of the stuff that I did tonight as well, adding electronic resources from Search USA. You can view that video, and that's where that information is. Same thing with Pubmed, ProQuest, creating a folder as well, and then generating citations, which is what we did. And we have them for each of the citation managers if you're interested. So I believe that is it. Oh, actually, no, let me remember. There's another thing I want to share, put in the chat for you. There is also a citation manager's library guide that we created that has a lot of the same stuff that I've talked about tonight, as well as the stuff that's in the Scholarly Skills community. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat for everybody. It's got a lot of the same stuff. It actually has a previous version of this presentation. It's also, if you click on the Zotero tab, it's where you can go to Zotero and download the Citation Manager. Any sort of additional resources like a quick start guide, that's right here, and also the sort of details about Zotero and essentially this presentation that we're doing now, a similar version of it is located right here. So I think that's all I have. Let me go back to my presentation really quick, and I'll check the chat in just a second. I think really it's just questions, and I see that that Michelle already asked us the questions for citing websites. Well, it can do that for sure. It can definitely cite a website. I don't know. For example, let's do this one for the Citation Manager page. Of course, when it's a website, the icon will be this sort of like blue color. And I do think the citation generating part for websites is a little tricky. I don't think it does a great job with websites a lot of the time, but let's see. Yeah, see, one of the things that it is one of the other limitations when it comes to websites, and this isn't just really to Zotero, I've noticed this on all of the different citation managers, is it doesn't do websites particularly well because it requires you to add in a lot of that additional information. So if it is a website, and if it's the author of it is the University of St. Augustine, which I think would probably be the case for the one that we did. We would have to manually add that information here, last name, first name, which you can do pretty quickly. So let's use that for example. We don't need this. It allows you to get rid of one of the fields. I always forget which one. So we'd have to do a little bit of manual work there, which is not a big deal, you know. Of course, it has the website title, which we have that. I don't remember the exact formula for citing a website. I'd have to go to the Writing Center to do it correctly. The other thing I think would be the date. And I know this website is copyright 2022, so most likely you'd be using that in the date range area. But I think you can kind of get it from there. Like I said, I feel like with websites, you kind of have to put in a little bit more of the manual work. But generally speaking, I would say it's pretty simple. Does that answer your question, Michelle?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, okay, yeah, Veronica, if it's for some reason doesn't pop up in your in Microsoft Word, yes, go to Edit, Preferences, Cite, and then Word Processors. Now, one of the things that could happen as well is that once you've done that, if you have any documents that are open on your desktop, it's best to close them all out, like save them and close them all out right after you do this, and then relaunch Microsoft Word, and the add-on should appear. Because I know sometimes I'll say to install the add-on, and then you have a Word document that's open and it still doesn't appear, but that's the reason why, is because you would have to close out the Word document and then relaunch it. But that's typically how it's done. Again, any questions on, all right, cool, great, Veronica, you got it. Does anybody have any other questions about how to use this really great time-saving tool? And like I said, I really like Zotero because I feel like it does a great job at you going from source to source to source and adding information to your library. You can't really say the same thing about a lot of the other citation managers. For instance, EndNote, or at least the one that we were supporting for a long time, EndNote X8, their browser extension, they do have one for their work, but it doesn't really do, and especially with the accuracy and the speed that that Zotero's does. So often with those tools, you kind of have to do a couple extra steps in order to get the citation into your library. So anyway, that's it. That's all I've got. If nobody has any questions, yeah, so thank you. Once again, I don't know if I introduced myself at the top of this, but my name is Ryan Gaylor. I'm one of the distance learning librarians at the University of St. Augustine, and I guess kind of unofficial citation manager library. I feel like I get a lot of those questions about citation managers, but which is fine because I do these presentations, I build those guides, I've built the learning module. So any questions that you guys have about using citation managers, and this is, you know, from here on, like after we do our session, please reach out to me. My contact info is right there, rgaylor@usa.edu. And generally, if you have any questions about Zotero, like basic questions, email library@usa.edu, and they'll be able to help you. But sometimes I know it's like a specific issue that may happen that I may have the answer to, so you can always copy me on the email. So anyway, I really appreciate it. I put a survey in the chat earlier, but I don't know if anybody that popped in later got a chance to see it. But if you get a chance to, please take the survey. It's right there. Just a little bit of feedback about our session. There may be another survey, not exactly this one, that will come through later. But we've been kind of working on a survey system. So don't be surprised if you may see another one later down the road. But for now, in any event, there's our survey. Or actually, you know what? Before everybody leaves, let me get another survey. I just remembered. I'm sorry. We've switched up a lot of our surveys recently, and let me get the right one for you. But anyway, I was just about to cut the recording. Anyway, thank you very much for coming out tonight, and let me get that survey for you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Have a good night. All right, 1 second, guys.